All right, so this is semester 2, quarter 3, sheet A, number 18. We are supposed to solve x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. The name of this problem is solve quadratic equation with factoring. So we are going to factor the quadratic trinomial, set each factor equal to 0, and solve both. Since this is an equation, you not only have to factor, but you actually have to find the two possible answers for x. So what we're going to do is to solve or to factor, you always use two sets of parentheses. Go ahead and set that equal to 0. If you think back to factoring those quadratics, you look at the constant term, it's 20. We need to write all the factor pairs of 20. So that'd be 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. So we have 3 possibilities. You look at the squared term, and there's only a 1 in front of it, so that's great. There's no other choices other than what gives you x squared besides x and x. This one, in front of the 20, you look at that sign, and it is a minus. And it means that the signs are now different. So I'm just going to arbitrarily put a plus in the first parenthesis and a minus in the second. That plus in front of this term now is really important when we test our outer inner. And I'll kind of tell you a trick about that, especially when it's just x squared. I'm going to use, you're looking at 20. Since that's a minus, what factor pair has a difference of 1? 4 and 5. So I know I'm going to use this one. And since that's a plus in front of the x, I want my bigger one out of the 4 and 5 to go with this plus. So I'm definitely going to put 5 here and 4 here. So I have a little better chance of it getting right when there's no number in front of the x squared, because you can just kind of take the numbers that are there, your factor choices, and you know that it has to come up to the number in front of x, which is 1. So I'm testing my outer is negative 4x, my inner is positive 5x. When I put those two together, what's my result? X, which is what I wanted. So I know that I'm right. Now, if you drew those in the bottom, the bad news is you got to erase that. And we have now factored that trinomial. But we've got to solve it now. So here's the thing. This is a product. X plus 5 times x minus 4, it equals 0. Well, anytime you have two things multiplied together that equal 0, like I've got my a times b is 0, what has to be true about one of them, at least? Matthew? It has to be 0. Yeah, either a has to be 0 or b has to be 0, or maybe they're both 0. That's how you solve this. So this is what you set equal to 0. You're going to go x plus 5 equals 0. And x minus 4 equals 0. And then you just solve both of those. So the first one, I would subtract 5 from each side, and x is negative 5. And the one on the right, I add 4 to both sides, and x equals 4. So my two answers, x can be negative 5, and x could be 4.